Welcome to Truth and Transcendence. You can find all our other episodes on truthandtranscendence.com. Today I'm going to talk about experience and understanding. And I'm going to propose that the vast majority of what we experience, we do not understand. And that it's only a small proportion of what we experience that we actually do understand. So I'm implying within that a lot of what we experience, we're not even conscious of experiencing. And I'm also including within that our experience encompasses an incredibly broad range of sensations and data coming in and feelings and thoughts and a whole textured tapestry of color and variation and infinite variety. Now, I find this interesting because I'm one of the people who actually is more interested in what I don't understand than in what I do understand. Because to me, the areas where I don't understand are the areas that are full of magic and possibility and infinite scope for new experiences and new learning and expansion. I also have a part of me that gets very uncomfortable if I don't understand something. Because that part of me believes that in order for me to feel safe and feel in control, I need to understand. I need to understand what I'm experiencing. I need to understand what's going on. I need to understand my thoughts. I need to understand what has taken place. I need to understand what I think is likely to take place. I need to understand the people around me. I need to understand the cultures I'm involved with. I need to understand what's going on somewhere else in the world, possibly. So I actually recognize there's two different aspects within me. One aspect which is delighted and amazed and in awe of the huge, giant scope of new experience and expansion that's held within everything I don't understand. And the other part of me that is very nervous about that, doesn't like it at all, and would much prefer that I understood everything so that I could feel safe and secure and in control. And I think this is something to do with our history as humans. Like there have been phases when extended phases, which were all about mysticism and faith. And I'm not using the word faith. I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about faith that things will happen, that things do happen, and that certain energies or spirits for good will do what they're going to do, etc. So there have been whole phases where that's been more the way to be. And actually, some of those phases are actually called the Dark Ages. The Dark Ages, as if being in a mode of not feeling really need to understand, being more connected to myth and legend and the unknown and the mystical, that's more a way to be. Now it's called the Dark Ages, which is very interesting, as if that way of being, that more intuitive, if you like, possibly more spirit-led way of being, is dark. And dark implies not good. And it implies confusing. And it implies unsafe. And then the Enlightenment, where knowledge and mental faculties and logic and all sorts of other modes of thought are considered to be bringing the light, as if the cognitive, the mental is the light and is good and better and safer and more secure. And I suppose in a way that at the time that was necessary because there was a transition occurring from one way of being to another. And it was not an easy transition. I can only imagine not an easy transition. And I think there was a lot of arguing and fighting and people being punished and all sorts of things happening during that transition. Where we are now in the world, in 2026, we now have the luxury that we can actually delve in both aspects very safely. We can meditate. We can go within and explore our inner world. We can open ourselves to cosmic and quantum realities and journeyings. We can visit the Akashic records. We can do all sorts of things without someone banging on the door, dragging us out and trying to drown us in a pond and seeing whether or not we float. That's not going to happen. Certainly not in the UK. Sadly, maybe there are places where it might, but in general, in the Western world, which is what I'm accustomed to and that I know best for myself, it's safe to do that. It's even safe to put up posts on Facebook about it. It's even safe to have a whole practice about it, have websites about it. It's completely safe. Equally, it's completely safe to give lecture tours talking about the psychological analysis of our culture and is it a decadent culture or not, and what's happening with politics and what's happening with different thought forms and what's happening with different philosophical perspectives. It's completely safe to do that. You can do that. You're not going to be locked up. You're not going to be accused of being above yourself. We've got so much permission now to play in both realms. So it's a perfect time to really drop into this possibility that the areas where we don't understand can be played in, they can be explored. Near me, the tarmac has got some sites not far from where I live. And if you go for a walk in the area, there are signs up and they say, no entry, this quarry is not a play area. And what they mean by that is that if you climb over the fence and climb up the hill and over the bank, on the other side there's a quarry, and in the quarry there's digging that's happened. So there's these big dips in the ground. You could slide down, graze your skin, possibly bang your head, possibly knock yourself out, possibly kill yourself. You might even land in a pool of water and drown. So, yeah, the quarry is not safe to play in. And some people feel that way about the areas where we don't understand. Some people feel, don't go in here, it's not safe. You could die. Now, the part that thinks that we could die by going into those areas is the ego identity part. The part that says, no, I have to understand everything to feel safe. But actually, we can have a little word with ourselves. We can have a little word with our ego self and say, I really appreciate you keeping me safe and secure. And actually, this is not a physical quarry where I could slide down and kill myself. This is me taking a journey within. This is me taking a journey into the energies, into the astral layer, or wherever it is I'm traveling, within or without. And it is actually completely safe. I'm at home. The front door is locked. Everybody is safe. Everybody's fine. I can do this. I can explore this. I can play with this. I can go into a room full of people where things are being talked about that I don't fully understand. And I can have a conversation and I can share my point of view. I can hear other people's. Nothing bad's going to happen. It's actually very safe. So acknowledging the fact that the part of us that wants to understand everything, valuing that part, because that part is really what's helped, is a large part of what's helped us get to where we are now, where we actually have homes and heating and food and roads, and we can travel around in these extraordinary things called cars and trains and planes and everything else that we have created. We've created that largely using the power of the mind to help us do that. But what we don't understand is how the power of the mind works. We don't know. Even when we think we know, it's just a stab. It's a guess, really. It's our best guess to the extent that we've been able to research it so far. And it's great and it's good and it works for us. But there's so much behind it that we don't really understand. And that's not a problem. And there are people whose job it is to try and go deeper and find more understanding. And that's great. And there are people who are constantly opening themselves to the experience of not understanding and what can be found within that through direct experience rather than through the analysis and sense-making of the mind. And actually, I think all of us do both those things at least some of the time. And I think that's part of what makes us human. And it's part of what allows us to continue to expand as a species and as individuals. We need both. So back to my original premise for this conversation today, which is that it's only a small proportion of what we experience that we actually understand, and the much larger proportion that we don't understand. And it could be argued that the areas that we don't understand are full of infinite possibility, magic, or inspiring expansion and scope for growth. So thank you for listening and watching. Please remember you can find all the other episodes on truthandtranscendence.com. If you feel inclined to share this episode or any episode with a friend, I'd be so grateful, because this project is a gift to the world. It's not a money-making project. And the more people get to hear these, and if they like it, maybe include it in their life, and if they don't like it, fair enough, the better. So thanks again, have a great week, and I'll see you next time.